You'd think after 21 years of being married to someone, you knew them. So, am I the a hole for refusing to try marriage counseling after I found out my wife was cheating? We have been married for 21 years. My wife runs a daycare center. She is 39 and I am 41. We have two teenage girls, ages 14 and 16. I am 6'4" and 270 pounds and played football in college. I work as a construction foreman and as a bouncer at a club to make extra money. I often work long hours and sometimes don't get home until late. One night I came home a little after 2 in the morning and saw that my wife's car wasn't in the driveway. I walked into the house and saw that my daughters were still up watching TV at 2 a.m. They should have been in bed on a school night. My daughter said that they had been trying to call and text their mother, but she wasn't answering. Something suspicious about that. Mom isn't answering her phone and it's late. I called and texted her for an hour. At about 3:37 in the morning, she came strolling through the door, drunk. We got into a huge argument. After the argument, I decided to sleep on the couch to try to get at least a few hours of sleep because I had to be back up at 7 a.m. to get ready for my day job. The next morning, I woke the kids up so they could get ready for school. Before I walked out to go to work, I noticed when I walked past the bedroom, my wife was on her phone texting. I said to her, "Have a good day, I love you." But I noticed she didn't say anything. How many of you find that alarming? Your partner doesn't say anything after you've said, "I love you." Since I was pressed for time, I didn't question her. I had to get to work. That day, I got home a little later from my job, but when I got home, my wife wasn't there. My daughters were actually saying they were hungry, so in a pinch, I ordered pizza and wings for them. But the whole time, I was trying to call my wife. I told my daughters that once the pizza got here, I was going to go look for their mother. By this time, it was after 8 p.m., and their mom wasn't home or responding to messages. Yeah, I think mom is up to no good. When your communication changes in a relationship, like drastically, it's usually not a good sign. Now, mind you, she's usually home by 5:30 p.m. or 6 p.m. at the latest. We only live 22 minutes from her job. The first place I went to was a daycare she worked at. Maybe she was cleaning the place up or something. Nope, the place was closed and her car wasn't there. Then I called her friend. She said she hadn't seen her either. As I was pulling out of the parking lot of her job, I got a text from my oldest daughter saying that mom was home. As soon as I got there, I told my daughters to go to their room. I confronted my wife, asking her where she was and what the hell was going on with her. Then she said, "You are not my dad. I was hanging out with some friends." Well, if she was hanging out with some friends, why not tell him that? I said, "Oh, okay," and walked away from her. Guys, we hadn't been intimate in 3 months. I guess you call that a dead bedroom. This was the second time in a week that our whereabouts had been in question. In the 21 years we have been married, communication was never an issue, and all of a sudden it was. After that confrontation, I knew something had to be going on with her. I didn't know what it was. I kept my cool. At one time early in our relationship, I had a bad temper. I never hit her or anything, but I broke things when we argued. I went to therapy, and now I have it under control. I went to work totally ineffective at my job. One of my coworkers noticed and asked if everything was okay. I told him I am having some issues on the home front. I got to get to the bottom of it. And that's all I said. After work, I went home. Guess what? My wife wasn't home. She always beats me home. I didn't freak out or anything. I grabbed my laptop and decided to do some research on devices I could use to track my wife. To my surprise, I couldn't use a tracker here in Virginia. I think it falls under the stalking law. So a GPS tracker was out. My only other option was a private investigator. I even had Apple AirTags, but I couldn't use those either. As I was on the computer, my wife came home. I didn't say anything to her, which surprised her. She asked me how my day was. I responded with reasonable chatter. I didn't want to let her know what I was up to. Then she started to come over where I was. I had to close my computer really quick after leaving my information for the private investigator. My wife asked me if I wanted to watch a movie. By this time, my daughters came downstairs and we all sat and watched a movie. The whole time, my mind was somewhere else. After the movie, we all went to bed. My wife asked me to sleep in the bed with her, which was nice. Although we didn't fool around, it was nice sleeping in the same bed as her. Well, the next morning she had other plans. She attacked me before I went to work. I didn't see this coming. On my way to work, the private investigator called me and asked when I would like to meet. Oh, if you didn't know, infidelity in Virginia is a crime if you're married, but it's rarely prosecuted. She said to me, "You can come to me or I can come to you." I opted for her to come to me as I was at work. We met on my lunch break. I told her what happened with the 2 times my wife's whereabouts were in question. I gave her a picture of my wife, the vehicle she drove, and some of the places she goes with her so-called friends. I also gave her a picture of her best friend. Right then and there, I gave her a down payment and told her I would pay the rest when she was done. She got started right away. Within a month, the private investigator found out that my wife was leaving work, going to her best friend's house and hanging out for like an hour or so, then leaving her house and going to some guy's house for hours. But that's not all. When this guy would greet her at the door, he would have his hands all over her. They would share a quick kiss and she would walk in. At one point, she even brought the guy some fast food to his place for dinner. The private investigator also caught them having sex in her car one night behind a bar, the car that I bought her. She came to my job and gave me this packet full of evidence. My heart just dropped. I moved fast once I had the information from the private investigator. As soon as I got home, I made an appointment with the divorce attorney to see what my options were. Since I made more money than my wife, I would probably be on the hook for some alimony. And then there were the kids. When I talked to the attorney, she advised me not to leave the house. Stay in the house, she said. You don't need to leave your home unless you guys don't get along. I filed for divorce that day, citing infidelity. People asked why I didn't want marriage counseling. What the hell for? So she can cheat on me again? Hell no. Yep, marriage counseling doesn't always work, especially if you are having financial issues in the marriage. She was using my money to bring this douchebag dinner. She didn't have any remorse. I also went to get myself tested for STDs. I was clean. Well, the divorce was kind of a mess. She did not get any alimony. That's a win for him. I am assuming the infidelity had something to do with that. She cried and pleaded to the court. She moved out of the house. When it sells, she will get her half. Her apartment, as the girls tell me, isn't in the greatest shape. Even though we share custody, the kids don't want anything to do with her. Her affair partner was divorced, so he didn't have a wife or a girlfriend, as the investigator could see. About 6 months after the divorce, we found out that my ex-wife lost her job. She wasn't fired. The daycare she worked at was closing. She called and texted me a few times wanting to borrow money. I told her to hit up her affair partner for money. The only time we talk is regarding the kids. Anyway, I want to personally thank Tony for allowing me to share my story. I want other men to really reconsider marriage counseling or reconciliation. Just be careful. 2 other coworkers at my job tried that, only to find out their wives were still cheating on them. One guy was married for 11 years. Another coworker was married for 8 years. If I have learned anything from this experience, is that trust is crucial in any relationship. Without trust, there is no foundation. My daughters and I are closer than ever now. We have our own routines and enjoy our time together. I've taken up new hobbies, focused on my personal growth, and continue to spend more time with my daughters. Life after divorce isn't easy, but it's a new beginning. I hope my story helps someone out there going through a similar situation. Remember, you deserve to be happy and respected. Well, I don't have anything negative to say. He didn't simp. He gathered his evidence, and once he got it, he filed for divorce. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Until next time.